from the College of Public Affairs and Development. So welcome everyone, all the way from Bicol, no, to here in Los Baños and other places in the country. We are also joined by many of our colleagues at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, whom we have invited for this very timely occasion, no? As we are all experiencing what seems to be our new normal, no? Which is remote learning. So, um, on behalf of the graduate school, of which I am a part of, and the College of Public Affairs and Development, where I am a faculty, I'd like to informally welcome you to our webinar today. We are very excited because this was, siguro just to give you an idea, this was originally pitched, no, by one of our senior colleagues in CPAF, Prof. Sunny Querijero, who's also the HRDO uh, director of UPLB, and who's also my co-faculty at CPAF, and we are teaching development studies, DVST 302 development practice in a team teach setup. So we've discussed this because this is our reality, and he said, you know what, how about we invite this expert who also happens to be a product of CPAF, no, tama po ba, sir, to share some insights, no, and to open up discussion about our present experience, no. So um and let me see, while we wait. So currently we're having some technical difficulties, and this is not something that's uncommon, no. Even I have been struggling with connectivity in the past 2 weeks, but just to move the program along, uh i'll just um I'll just go ahead and give you a background about our webinar speaker for today. So rather than wait for later, I'll just share with you a little bit of information about our guest speaker for today. So we are graced by Dr. Ronald V. Amorado, Senior Vice President, Academic Affairs of University of Mindanao. So Dr. Ronnie Amorado is a passionate researcher and a prolific literature, okay, award-winning book author and an unconventional academic. I wonder what unconventional academic means. Maybe we will learn later. He authored and co-authored books of various genres, such as leadership and citizenship, corruption and anti-corruption. He also wrote about research techniques and biographical research. So he received the NAST Outstanding Book Award in 2008, the IAMURE World Distinguished Book Author. He's also received Outstanding World Researcher and Outstanding World Research Associate Award in 2013, and the Asian Society of Teachers of Research Best Asian Book for Teaching Research Award in 2015. Last year, he bagged the Junior Chamber International Senate Davao and the Davao JC Senate Foundation's Leaders and Achievers of Davao, or LEAD Award for Leadership Education. So Dr. Amorado is also a Hubert Humphrey Fellow of the Maxwell School of Citizenship at Syracuse University in New York, USA. So by his background, no, we already know that we're having a world-class expert, no, with us today, and I'm sure everybody is looking forward to hear from him about this very timely topic. Okay. So maybe what we'll do is that we'll move along with the program, and then later on, towards the end of uh, the the program, we'll also ask the Dean Bello, okay, to join us for his welcome remarks. So for now, please make do with my welcome to all of you. welcome to CPAF and graduate school here in UPLB in this virtual webinar. So since I've already introduced our speaker, I'd like to call him and bring him to the screen. So, Dr. Amorado, you have the floor, or I should say the screen. So, let's all prepare ourselves to listen to his talk.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Eileen. Good afternoon to all. You can hear me, right? I'm clear naman, no? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good
Sir.
afternoon. Yeah, very good. Good afternoon to all the graduate students taking up the MDM program and I understand also the PhD development studies and all of the faculty and administrators. To my mentor, Sir Sunny Querejero. Okay. Siguro the last time na when I finished my MDM program was in 1994. Hindi pa yun si PAF the time, CEM pa kami the time. CEM pa, no? We had the weekly program, Saturday and Sunday program. So that was one of the best years in my academic career, no, in UPLB. No? So I'm really happy. Sir Sunny really picked up, no, and pitched for this. No? I've been invited around locally and internationally to speak on this topic as well, of course in other leadership topics, no, because of a very important period in our history right now. All of us are into online classes, into the so-called synchronous and asynchronous modes of instruction. So, but there is a caveat, no? And I'd like to pitch, no, also, parang teka muna, no, teka muna. We need to admit and realize some things because something is wrong actually, no? Something is wrong. So at this point, let me share my screen, okay, for everyone. Okay. So this is my basically we have remote teaching and learning in our midst. We have distance education in our midst, but we did the discussions on integrity and accountability in these fields, in remote teaching and learning, even in distance education. Okay, these are not part of the discussion. That's why I'm trying to advocate for this particular uh, uh, session. What is the problem? Okay, much of the discourse now or articulation about remote teaching and distance education modes of delivery during the pandemic period only focuses on their promotion. Napilitan lahat, no? To undergo to implement and conduct online classes. No? So we keep on promoting. But we also need to highlight the precaution. So kapartner ng promotion should be the precaution about remote academic fraud and cheating in online classes. Because in literature, academic fraud and cheating online classes, mataas ang kanilang ang extent nito, no? With the experience of MOOCs in abroad, no? And online classes. In the history of classes, of online classes abroad, mataas ang vulnerability to academic fraud. Remote teaching actually exacerbates academic fraud. And cheating online is more widespread and uncontrollable in remote programs. And technology can make or break the integrity of remote teaching and learning. We have all of these things going on right now, no? And the necessary propagation and the unfettered proliferation of all of these things. Okay, of course, we all know, of course, the conventional is the residential learning, the face-to-face, but the rest as part of the blended learning, may tinatawag na technology-aided learning, remote learning, flexible learning, hybrid learning, modular learning, distance learning, even virtual learning. Certainly, they have distinctions. Many people, they equate one with the other as similar, but they are not. No? But I will not go into the details because I am sure all of you have attended a lot of orientations and webinars on these online modes of delivery. But just to show to you the emerging discourse now in distance education. But because of the precaution, the necessary propagation actually results in unfettered proliferation of all of these things at the moment, even at the level of the basic education. So there are some pedagogical application dilemmas. Okay, as we know it, as we should know it, not all remote are actually online. Not all distance are online. Not all blended are hybrid. Not all online are done through learning management systems. Not all online are video conferencing. Not all virtual are online. And not all distance are technology aided. Not all modular are technology aided. Residential may or may not be technology aided. And for further reflection, are all remote or distance, are all remote classes distance education, but are all distance remote, especially in UP campuses, no? Where buildings really are very far from one another. No? You are in a one building from the left and another building at the right side. It's not considered as remote already. No? So maraming mga debate din ngayon dyan. But just to show you the different dilemmas, no? In the conduct of the different modalities using technology. And of course, we have these two popular nomenclatures at the moment, no? The synchronous learning and the asynchronous learning. Of course, we all know synchronous learning is learning simultaneously together, learning at the same time, but different learning environments, not just in the space. And asynchronous learning is learning in different time, space, or environment. Apparently, in the online learning, remote learning, the asynchronous sessions are more vulnerable to academic fraud and cheating in online classes, apparently. And there are many anecdotal evidences that will show this. Especially because you are left on your own. Students are left on your own in terms of the distance education. Take note that remote learning and teaching or remote teaching learning is learner-centered, unlike in the residential face-to-face, where it is teacher-centered, where everybody listens and looks at the center, okay, looks at the teacher. But in the synchronous or the asynchronous, it's not. You are on your own. Okay, so distance education really is for self-directed learning, self-instructional mode. The teachers just facilitate. That is why in the literature, we have a lot of vulnerabilities now, academic fraud with the asynchronous sessions. And we add to this problem, anecdotal sharing of random college students in college, no? But maybe we can also ask the same, no, for graduate students. No? It reveals that they are not learning in synchronous sessions, especially when they are left alone. Okay? Maraming gusto mag-drop, no? Kasi wala naman sila natututunan. Hirap makinig. No? Kasi ano lang lalo na kung video conferencing, nag-lecture ang teacher, there's less and less and less student interaction. Okay? Unlike in the face-to-face residential, may class interaction. And we all know in education theory, class interaction is very much correlated to learning and performance. So if students are not learning, the integrity of remote online classes is diminishing. Okay, remote online classes, especially asynchronous sessions, need some level of cohort maturity for self-directed learning, and this is the essential intent of distance education. Because if you look at the practice and the philosophy of distance education, it's really for adult learning, where maturity is much expected of the students of the cohort to be on their own for self-governance and for self-discipline. But because of pandemic, we are forced to implement remote online classes even at the levels of students, elementary, even high school, college, which may have some problems of maturity. So take note, cohort maturity is a very important factor in distance education. So the challenge to integrity here is that when students do not learn, but they want to pass, what do they resort to? Certainly, they will resort to cheating because they want to pass, unless they want to drop, no? But they want certainly they want to pass, so they resort to cheating. I am sure these are not only limited to college students. I'm sure even in graduate school, even in executive courses, even in the non-degree courses, okay, this could also happen. If I may quote some citations here, online courses and exams certainly make it easier for dishonest students to cheat. So for students who are already dishonest, who have been in this industry, no, of cheating, online courses will be a conducive environment for them. So these courses and exams certainly make it easier for dishonest students to cheat. And a big factor here is the anonymity and distance of the internet made it easier for students to cheat, no? According to some journalists. But let us be clear, however, there is no assessment that is uncheatable. Okay, na all assessment is cheatable. Kung meron yung cheating sa residential face-to-face, all the more sa online classes. And these are not the acts only of students, even by the parents, by the way, even by the parents. And remote examinations pose much pressure to assessment reliability, and teachers might find it not easy to validate and evaluate the integrity of exam results. So especially for the teachers in the audience, no, you can validate this. Mas lalong hirap sa online. Kaya pala pag even in UPOU, even in Coursera, mas mahal actually ang bayad sa online classes, no? Because they pay the teachers higher, no? Because it's more difficult, it's more taxing, it's more exhaustive. But because of integrity problems and academic fraud, sayang yung trabaho ng mga guro. Nasasayang yung trabaho ng mga guro. Nasisira dahil sa academic fraud. So we need to equip our teachers and as well as inform our students to be aware for this. Many of our graduate students are also teachers, no? So they have some experience for this. Some empirical data. Unfortunately, I don't have empirical data Philippine setting. I have the empirical data from the US. As of 2015, the online education is already poised to be a 100 billion global industry. And cheating in online classes is now a very big business. Okay, so it's already exposed, no, at that level. And some survey in the US, no, reveals that 2,000 college professors and administrators revealed 60%, okay, believe that academic fraud is more common in online classes compared to the residential face-to-face courses. Ibig sabihin, 60-40 ka agad, no? Estimate 60% merong ang nandadaya agad, no, sa mga online classes. In another survey, 32% or 33% admit to cheating in online classes, and same percentage admit to cheating in the classroom. Okay, and compare that to those who were caught, no, in committing cheating, no? Maliit lang din. Other surveys also, 76% said they copied text from somebody else's assignment. Imagine that. No? A very high, 79% admit to plagiarism from internet sources. Okay? Madali na lang mag-copy and paste sa totoo lang. No? And 72% said they use mobile devices to cheat. In fact, mobile devices are the most favorite device, no, or tools for online cheating. And 42% said they purchased custom papers or essays online. 28% said they paid for a service to take their online classes for them. Mga paid essays. No? A McAfee study, 1 in 3 American students use mobile phones or other connected devices to cheat on exam. When I was invited and to present the same session to CHED, I challenged CHED, no, to take the lead in conducting the surveys, no, for Philippine data, no, with regard to academic fraud and vulnerabilities, no, because we are using empirical data. No. So I hope we can help push that, no, also. So what? So what? No? While we delight on the promotion of remote teaching and learning, we need to be aware of and prepare for its precaution. Remote integrity and accountability is the ethical foundation of a strong and vibrant remote teaching and learning programs. Let's look at integrity. No? If we speak of integrity, okay, online integrity also applies the same. It's a late 14th century origin from the French integrity and Latin integritas. There are hundreds, thousands, even millions of definitions. But if we will focus, if we restructure the definitions, we can group them together into 3. No? And the first group definitions is more of a normative definition. The steadfast adherence to a strict moral or ethical code of conduct. The sense of what is good in the sense of common good. The other 2, the groups of definition refer to structural in nature, no? The state of being unimpaired, sound, or undamaged. So speak of integrity of a building, for example, the integrity of your class. So it's not just being good or bad, but also being intact and complete and whole, okay, the quality or condition of being undivided or unbroken. So those are the the basic definitions, no, of integrity. And of course, there are metaphors. No? We speak of integrity as the building construction, even integrity in data information, integrity of relationships, no? Integrity of environment, integrity as a sense of a giving direction, no? For moral benchmark. No? And many others. There are many. No? That's why one of the root words of integrity is integer. And integer means whole numbers, not percentages, not decimals. No? And integrity of documents and data, artistic integrity. We speak of professional integrity. Okay? We speak of environmental integrity, kaya nakakagulo sa dolomite. No? We speak of structural integrity, no? Sa buildings, no? Lalo na paglindol, financial integrity, political integrity, and territorial integrity. Ito yung problema natin sa China. So, dalawang types of integrity ang tinamaan kaagad. We speak of intellectual integrity, honest and original. This particular type of integrity, tuhog na tuhog agad sa remote, online, and accountability when we speak of intellectual integrity. Of course, the use and consistency and reliability of our technology for online classes refer to technological integrity as well. And systems integrity, the entire system. Certainly, integrity is cultural, okay? And the highest form of integrity is moral integrity, being upright, no? And having a probity, no? And uncorrupted. So if you will ask me with all of those meanings and metaphors, what are their relationships? There are two emerging, I'll go back, emerging types of integrity now, secular integrity and moral integrity. And all of those examples, all of those metaphors that we presented, they all belong to secular integrity. So what is their relationship to moral integrity? No? So secular integrity finds meaning with moral purpose. Because you can have secular integrity without moral integrity and vice versa. But there's no meaning. And moral integrity also finds expression in the secular world. So if you say mabait ka, if you say you're a spiritual person, if you say you're a religious person, you go to mass every day, you pray your rosary, but you maltreat your people, you don't pay what is due them, okay, you don't treat humanely your fellow men, then you don't have secular integrity. Your moral integrity is problematic. If you remember yung kanta, no, yung Santong Kabayo, okay? And kung secular integrity ka lang naman at walang moral integrity, what's the purpose, no? Maybe you will wonder, no? Many people, even if they amidst difficulties, even if they have even low salaries, but still they find happiness and fulfillment, it's because of their moral integrity, because they find moral purpose. And when I speak of moral integrity here, this is not in terms of your religion only. This is really more of your piety, your spirituality, your energy, and your connection to your personal connection to your transcendental God, kahit anong religion pa yan. So that is the relationship of secular and moral integrity. So then, given that premise, no, given those background, no, what is therefore remote integrity and accountability? Okay, remote integrity and accountability refers to the ethics, or which is doing good and doing better, and ethic. Ethic means being intact and uncontaminated, your way of doing things. So the ethics and ethic in remote educational processes, even without other people watching. Take note, even people without other people watching. And this is the cultivation of self-integrity to preserve the system integrity of remote teaching and learning. RTL, or distance ed, is a system by itself. But system integrity relies so much on self-integrity, relies so much on the users as well. If the users do not have integrity, the teachers, the students, okay, the system integrity is useless. So self-integrity is connected to the system integrity. And self-integrity is the foundation of self-directed learning. Okay? And we speak here of self-governance, we speak here of self-discipline. Okay, you have many asynchronous sessions, you have many reading assignments, you have to pace, you have to do manage your time. So malaking kinalaman ang self-governance and self-integrity dun sa self-directed learning. And accountability is being answerable or liable to the responsibility of remote learning. And we need strategy and we need technology to help us in ensuring remote integrity and accountability. And if I may quote a very popular author, integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Further, remote online teaching and learning or distance education needs mature, ethical students to preserve the integrity of the system. The challenge now is how do we ensure or gauge maturity of our students? Okay lang sa graduate school siguro kasi expected na mature. I hope I'm right, ha? I hope I'm right kasi nung yung nag-aaral pa lang ako sa master sa MDM ko para may konting marami kami immaturities, no? But expectedly we are all mature, no? Problema sa college level, even high school level, even elementary level. So how do you challenging sa mga teachers to kasi how do you facilitate maturity and bring out the maturity of your students to preserve the integrity of the system? And in remote online classes, there is heightened imperative to inculcate ethics and ethics and cultivate maturity among our students. So reflection, no? What students level or segment can we expect maturity? And what students level or segment are prone to cheating and fraudulent acts in online classes? Okay. This one I just want to flash because this is very funny. In 2005, there was an experiment, no? In Princeton University, but that experiment was stopped because of some ethical problems. No? They tried to profile a person's integrity by merely looking at their faces, and their subjects are mga prison mates. No? So ganun pala daw pag if you are trustworthy or can be trusted, medyo slim ang cheekbones and everything, medyo malaking mukha yung sa hindi, pero kapagtataka puro kalbo. Hindi naman siguro kasi mga preso nga eh, so kaya puro kalbo. But just note that this was stopped. Therefore, it's difficult to gauge ethics, integrity, accountability in a person by mere physical traits. Ganun ka hirap. Human behavior is that difficult actually. Kasi kung ganun lang, madaling makita sa facial traits or sa physical traits, we will solve many of our problems in society, in elections, in hiring people, in admitting students, by just merely looking at people. Ito, maasahan ito, hindi ito maasahan. Mga HR people, you will be very happy kung ma-establish ito. But reality, it's not. It's not, no? Because that is how complicated human behavior is. Some trends in remote academic fraud and cheating online classes, no? So meron tinatawag na identity spoofing or online identity fraud. Before the pandemic, online identity fraud is pervasive in banking and finance, especially in the use of credit cards. But during the pandemic period, because of online classes, nag-shift ang online identity fraud sa academic sector, no? So that's called identity spoofing. No? Or on a smaller scale, meron tinatawag na impersonation technique, no? Strategy na pagpandaraya. Ibig sabihin, iba ang nag-a-attend ng klase. Lalo na dahil naka-off ang mga video by necessity para hindi maubos yung mobile data mo or hindi mag-slow down ang internet connection. So we don't know kung sino nag-a-attend. That's impersonation, a small scale. On a larger scale, it is called surrogacy. Surrogacy really is somebody is really attending your many classes, somebody making your papers. Anecdotally, I know there are parents who are the ones attending classes for their children. Especially because their kids are napapagod na, ayaw na makattend, wala natutunan, pero gusto na mga parents makatapos, ang mga anak nila, nagsusurrogacy sila. Okay, before many years ago, I have one student, no, ang nag-attend, one student who was a mayor, pero nag-attend ng kanyang master class ang secretary niya. Sabi ko, dapat nag-enroll ka na lang para hindi masayang. Ikaw na may degree, hindi yung mayor. So that's surrogacy. Mas prevalent siya ngayon sa pandemic class. Of course, we have outsourced assignments. We have plagiarism. Kaya naging sikat ngayon si Turnitin, naging sikat ngayon si Safe Assign, maraming naging sikat. No? Meron din mga call a friend during exams or consult Google during exams. No? So yung anak ko, nag-online class, dalawa monitor. Bakit? Sabi ko, bakit? Yung isa nag-online class, yung isa naman para sa searching daw. Okay, discarded no? But that is how technology can be utilized really and along the way could have a lot of integrity issues there. Some measures to reduce or mitigate academic fraud and cheating in online classes. No? So we need to update and equip our teachers and even make our students aware of this. No? Of course, we need explicit integrity policy or honor code. In any online class, declare already the first day of your session, of your class, or kung hindi man ipahabol nyo, declare your integrity policy. The leniency mandate of CHED, okay, only extends to expanded learning opportunity. Ibig sabihin, doon sa mga nahirapan, kung nabagsak sa exam, bigyan ng second chances, yung walang internet, ipa-attend pa rin, huwag ibagsak. But the leniency mandate of CHED does not include for cheaters. Okay? So your handbook should be still in force now. Ayun. And teachers have this uncanny knack of detection and validation. You know a student is cheating by just merely reading their paper. Yung biglang nagbago ang English or biglang merong maraming authors in text pero wala sa references. So merong manual detection and validation. And you can reference that to the previous work of your students. And in online classes, MCQs or FCQs, forced choice questions, are discouraged because the MCQs or FCQs are the most vulnerable to cheating. So what will you do? What do you do? Use more performance tasks, okay, other than MCQs and FCQs. What do you mean by performance tasks? Yung mga demonstrable tasks like essay, project, capstone, ipa-record mo ang kanyang competence niya. But I'm not saying that essays are not vulnerable. They are also, but most vulnerable are MCQs and FCQs. And use hot questions, meaning higher order thinking skills, no, analytical and problem solving, and using of varied question types. Interestingly, to reduce online cheating, use synchronous and time tools. But we are also saying that distance education is really not for the synchronous, it's really for the asynchronous. But the asynchronous sessions are the most vulnerable also. So, difficult. If you have an LMS, a learning management system, may mga time tools dyan. Halimbawa, as a quiz. Mag-quiz ka, no? One question, 1 minute or 2 minutes. Okay? Para hindi walang oras para mag-cheat. And use unspoofable technology, meaning video conference. When I was in the US, dati as a fellow, took up my postdoc there. I had one online course. We only used one synchronous session, and that was to defend my paper. We had the whole day synchronous session. Nag-isa lang ako facing my panel online. So that's an unspoofable technology. So teachers can use video conference to allow a student individually to allow a student to present or defend or recite. Problem is, with logistics and with the number of students in our classrooms, hindi pwede yan. Hindi yan posible. Siguro sa graduate school. No? And also do blended with face-to-face sessions. Residential validation of virtual identity. That's the practice before the pandemic. But problem now is that we are prohibited to conduct the face-to-face sessions. You can also record your short videos for upload later on, or use of technology to fight abuse of technology. Okay, may mga lockdown browsers, may mga digital proctoring, may mga hands proctoring. Many law schools now, they want residential only, but difficult. So what they did in exams, pinapa-video ang kamay nila, no? Hands proctoring. Pag gumala, nawala yung kamay, that's a sign of cheating. They agree. No? They have to agree. No? So that could be one, but that again requires technology. Required ka ng camera, video camera. So these are some of the measures to reduce and mitigate academic fraud and cheating in online. In our school, if we are, especially for final exams, if the face-to-face is not allowed, then we conduct online final exams, but we don't allow the use of MCQs and FCQs. This is difficult, especially for academic programs which have licensure exams, because their training is really for multiple choice questions, okay, like the PRC. And the management of distance education program really poses a lot of challenge. No? because of limited or no physical contact to verify the student's identity or attendance. Okay? And this is because of aspects of distance education that take place through the internet. And students are not required to present themselves in person at any point. Kaya maraming mga online classes, they also require, no, i-on nyo muna yung video for attendance checking maybe. But during the course, during the classes, pwede nyo nilang i-off. Doon nangyayari yung impersonation or surrogacy. Doon nangyayari yan. Iba nga natutulog na lang. No? Iba naman, hindi marunong gumamit ng technology, naka-on pa rin yung camera. Iba kahit nagsi-CR o di ba, na-issue sa isang barangay, nahuli nag-sex tuloy. No? But this citation, I'd like to emphasize, no, was made by an official of the Department of Education in the US during a congressional testimony. Okay, I was there when in the US when the MOOCs programs bumagsak nung panahon na yun sa US, no middle of 2000 and 2010, no? Bumagsak dahil sa online cheating. Imagine you can take your master class, your MBA or any master class in just 6 months or even your doctoral in just 2 years. Kaya bumagsak yung MOOCs, no, kasi nagkaroon ng proliferation, no, ng mga bayaran, no, nagkaroon ng diploma mill online. Nagkaroon ng congressional hearing and some reforms were instituted. So bumalik na ulit yung MOOCs, very expensive and very okay naman siya, no. Parang UPOU model din natin yun. And Korea, South Korea, Singapore, Taiwan, US, even in Europe, no, are good providers of MOOCs education. They even have their own department of MOOCs. It's simply the same as UPOU, basically. But again, cohort maturity is very important there. To curtail online academic fraud, we need to meet the students face-to-face to make sure they are who they say they are. Problem is, we are prohibited to do that. That's the caveat. We are constrained by quarantine conditions. Some pedagogical principles for remote integrity and accountability. All online education is remote learning, but not all remote learning is online education. And take note that remote online education is not equal to video conferencing. It is more than just video conferencing. Sadly, because we are forced to shift to distance education, but not all teachers and not all students are oriented properly and trained properly about distance education and RTL. That's why ang UPOU, they really promote ngayon, no, train teachers on distance education. I just received my certificate on RTL and distance education after 5 months, no, kasi medyo matagal ang ano, but I passed the executive course. We encourage teachers to attend, pass the certificate course on online teaching, distance education, avail, no, sa program ng UPOU. Kasi teachers treat online classes as residential classes. They keep on lecturing only. Okay? Nagsasalita. Sana yung mga teachers magsalita, mag-lecture. But take note that in history of the distance education, it's really more for asynchronous and self-directed learning. Okay? And online classes are not supposed to be treated like fixed time classes. The international practice of remote online learning is done with more asynchronous interactions, giving more premium to self-paced learning. And synchronous sessions usually reserved for assessments. Okay, but some performance assessments can be done asynchronously. And remote online education requires more time to prepare, requires technology to deliver, and demands more efforts for preparation and execution. And technology can make or break the integrity of remote teaching and learning and the use of technology properly, which is the system's integrity. And again, as I mentioned previously, self-integrity, a person's integrity, okay, is imperative to allow the system integrity to work. And a person's integrity, okay, requires both ethics and ethic, requires accountability. Okay. The use of authentic assessment is also needed to motivate students and reduce student cheating in online classes and examinations. I saw one very good example in this example, in authentic assessment. No? May mga courses na very appropriate for online classes. No? Halimbawa, cooking or baking. So may isang teacher na nakita ko, yung ginawa niya, pina-record niya yung estudyante niya in cooking. Okay, so authentic assessment yun kasi demonstrable ang performance task niya. Okay, and then while the student is cooking, na-explain niya yung theory and concepts actually by demonstration of cooking. Swerte yun, no? Swerte yun. No? problema sa mga computational, sa mga hindi demonstrable ang agad-agad ang competency. Okay? Even in writing, even in grammar, it's difficult to teach online. And students are also less likely to cheat when they are encouraged to demonstrate learning in ways that are most authentic to them. And the key here is motivation. And part of self-integrity, part of self-governance is self-motivation as well. So these are some of the principles there. No? And I should say authentic assessments are useful in remote integrity and accountability. Okay, and when we speak of authentic assessment, that excludes MCQs or FCQs. Because authentic assessment, okay, focuses on engaging and worthy problems or questions of importance in which students must use knowledge to fashion performances effectively and creatively. Now, since we are constrained, okay, against holding face-to-face for blended learning and against residential validation of virtual identity, and lastly, we know that online assessments are not foolproof. What can be done? Okay, by way of recommendations, what can be done therefore? No? We can gauge student performance through assessment spread, meaning the entirety of online participation over time. That's called assessment spread. Don't judge a performance of a student in one exam only, or in one activity, or in one participation in an asynchronous session. Okay? Look at the whole picture of assessment spread. Okay? Kung hindi siya nakapasok ng klase for 1 week kasi because of internet failure, wag agad sana ibagsak. Bigyan pa na ibang chances pa. Baka naman may mga panahon na nag-okay yung internet niya and therefore nakapag-participate siya ng maayos. And if possible, make use only of authentic assessments as final assessment. Okay. You can use the traditional, even MCQs, no, assessments, maybe for formative exams. No? But again, be aware, traditional assessments are very, very vulnerable to cheating. Copy and paste lang yan. Mapapagod ka lang mag-check ng validity and reliability ng originality test ng mga papers nila. If necessary, you conduct individual video F2F assessments if time allows and depends a lot on a lot of availability and connectivity. And cheating in online classes puts to waste the time and effort of the teacher. So let us help prevent this. Kawawa naman yung pagod ng mga guro din. At the same time, we are properly cautioned of the massive distress to all of us, especially to our students, because of the pandemic pressure. Thus, we need to demonstrate leniency according to CHED Advisory Season 7. Everyone is adjusting to the new normal. We need to provide expanded opportunity for students by giving more chances to cope up. And this is not the time to impose unyielding rigidity. In fact, integrity is better than rigidity. But we also need to make remote online classes enjoyable, delightful, and memorable for our students, and provide breathing space for students by giving more time to process, reflect on learning than complying with documentary requirements. Okay? May alam akong mga eskwelahan, mga teachers, mga classes, no? Sabay-sabay magbigay ng assignments. Okay? Bisan 20, 30, 40 paper requirements in 1 week. In 1 week. No? May iba naman nagkaklase ng midnight o madaling araw, no? Dahil nga sa internet connection. Because we equate online classes with synchronicity or synchronous learning. Okay. We need to conduct meaningful online classes. If students find online classes meaningful, they do not need to cheat actually. With the country's upsurge experience in remote online education, there is a need to generate empirical data and craft appropriate policy reforms as part of HEI's Learning Opportunity Plan or Learning Continuity Plan. The CHED can take the lead, various regional offices, but of course, SUCs, of course, the schools can also take the lead. Para maraming magano. This is similar to the OER initiative of CHED. They ask for volunteer teachers to create their manuals for open educational resources. So ganun din sana, no? A survey for empirical data for Philippine setting. Din. Okay, and we need to survey really if our students are indeed learning in their remote online classes. This is part of systems integrity. And we can also make it as part of your thesis or dissertations, okay, to focus on academic frauds and cheating online. Unfortunately, wala masyadong studies in Philippine setting na academic fraud and cheating online. Karamihan Western data din. And very important to take note, the CHED's COVID advisories on leniency cannot be construed to include cheaters in online classes. So there is a need to integrate and institutionalize remote integrity and accountability to remote and teaching learning programs, both for students and teachers, even for administrators. Do not leave students' conduct behind. Okay? Both ethics and ethics. Together with technology, there is a need to bring integrity and accountability in the virtual world as well. Okay? So you may ask me, so, why is this important? So what? No? Bakit masyado malaking issue to para sa akin? And I'm trying to share to you, no? Because I strongly believe that our pedagogical integrity makes or breaks our nation's integrity. May connection to. We are all aghast and angered with so much anomaly and irregularity in government. Corruption in government begins with corruption in classes, including online classes. There is a profound connection between the integrity in the class, be it residential or virtual, and the integrity of the country. And the profound connection lies in the answer to these nagging questions. Why do we have so much corrupt people in government? And many are involved in national scandals, despite their formative years in schools. Diba? And online classes are part of our formative years in schools. So, dyan ang connection. Why it is very important to include remote integrity and accountability in the discourse of distance education and remote teaching and learning. And this is the perennial awkwardness. What if cheaters in class become teachers? Okay? Or professionals or government officials? What if the cheaters in class pass their courses, even qualify as outstanding graduates? Our students are the country's future, and their integrity at present shapes the integrity of the future. And systems integrity, meaning our remote online classes, needs the culture of integrity, which is the good conduct, good students, good citizens. And schools can help in expanding the space for integrity by reducing the space for anomaly in remote online classes. That is why it is very, very important. Okay, and I think this is my last slide. No? As I mentioned, pedagogical integrity makes or breaks our nation's integrity. And if I may quote this, technology will never replace teachers, but teachers who use technology will replace those who do not. And that includes students and professionals. And technology will never replace great teachers, but in the hands of great teachers, it is transformational. Okay, we are also in the period of embracing the necessity to be adept, okay, and ethical in using technology. Thank you very much, no? And good luck. No? So back to you, host. Thank you very much. This is my last slide. I'm open now for Q&A. No?
Okay, I'd like to call on Professor Sunny Querijero to moderate the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Eileen. Thank you very much, Ron.
Hello, Sunny. Good afternoon.
Hi, magandang hapon, Ron.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. You know naman sa UP that we have this honor and excellence. And in fact, the UP system has already reminded us all to look in to have this integrity pledges in our course modules and all of those things. One of the things that has popped up in the question in the chat box as well as in the Zoom chat box, and I think from the initial impression is that how far can we really push that honor code system?
Difficult, no? Really a difficult. There's no hard and fast answer to that, no? Maaring ano eh. If you watch the movie yung sa Panda, when Panda was asked, no, what is more important, no, the journey or the destination, and Panda answered, no, it's not the destination, it's not the journey, it's the company. So probably we don't know what's there or how can we reach our destination. But if together we join, we give company to like-minded individuals, okay, the bleeding hearts, no, kumbaga, no, and espouse this, no, starting with our online classes, uh, we help create the space for integrity. We don't know anong dulo. We don't know to what extent we can create a dent. But by simple acts of integrity and accountability, we help create the space of integrity. Okay? And by creating that space, we also help, as a result, reduce the space for anomalies, basically. So, ganun lang ang aking tingin, sir. No? Hindi ko masagot na I cannot even be perfect on that. No? I cannot even be righteous on that. No? But in our own acts, really,
It's 4
within
o'clock.
our walls of online classes, no, within our technology, if we can preserve and then practice and protect technology and the conduct of accountability and integrity, no, in our online classes, I think that should be enough. I think we have ascendancy to do that.
Thank you, Ron. We have viewers coming from Quezon Province from the PhD Dev Studies cohort. We have also several viewers coming from Bukidnon Province. This is a question coming from one of those who are at the YouTube channel. How do we strike a balance between being kind and considerate towards struggling students and ensuring academic excellence during this difficult time?
Very good, very good. So, being kind and being considerate, okay, for me, okay, if we apply that to the leniency mandate of the Commission on Higher Education, okay, should be applied to students who are honestly struggling. And when we say honestly struggling, those who cannot have connection, those who do not cheat, those who find it difficult to pass the exam, then we exercise leniency. How do we do that? Provide in outcomes-based education, we operationalize leniency by providing expanded learning opportunity. Meaning, provide second chances. Kung nabagsak sa isang exam, ipatake pa siya ng isa pang exam. Patake pa hanggang sa matuto siya. Self-paced nga eh. Self-pacing siya eh. Before makaproceed siya sa next level niya. So that is the kind of kindness and consideration. Pero I think we should be firm, no, against deliberate cheating. Talagang sinadya, lalo na yung chronic cheater, no. Yung halata mong bibigyan ka ng 10-pager papers na 100% ang originality niya, no. Kanyang glaring talagang plagiarism niya. Index niya sa Turnitin. At paulit-ulit na ginawa, mga repeat offenders. In that case, you have to impose your honor code, your policy through the handbook. Okay, through the handbook. The child leniency, kindness, all of these virtues, consideration, should not be construed as being considerate also towards cheaters and mga anomalous. No? Siguro kung minor lang, halimbawa, nagtumingin sa Google, or mga hindi kinahuli, swerte naman sila, yan, pwede ka maging considerate. Okay? Pero halimbawa, bumili ng manuscript for the thesis. Diba? That's insulting, no, professionally. Or ang exam niya, no? Mayroon akong isang teacher, may lumapit sa akin, nagtanong, no? Yung siya estudyante never attends his online classes. But every exam, 100% pass. Siguro magaling na magaling siguro. Pero sabi ko, baguhin mo ang strategy mo. Bakit na siya nakaka-100? Imposible. No? And first year pa ito. Siguro naman, magaling na magaling siya, but try to validate. No? Kasi hindi doon nag-attend ng classes. So that's one. No? And balance also, remote teaching and learning should give premium to student participation, not student attendance. This is not the time to check attendance every hour. Hindi to. Participation ang kailangan, the quality of participation. So we have to locate how we exercise and balance kindness and considerate to the genuinely struggling students, not to the crooks, not to the makakaduda na mga estudyante din. But I know it's difficult to identify and detect. That's why we need to equip our teachers some strategies And even so, hindi rin sila 100% foolproof. At least hindi tayo naloloko masyado.
Thank you, Ron. There's another question here. You mentioned in your talk about cohort maturity, especially coming from the graduate level students, and that appears to be an expectation coming from you that indeed graduate students are really mature in that sense. How do we measure objectively cohort maturity?
Correct. Di ko rin masagot, sir. Di ko rin masagot. I asked DepEd people. No, paano nyo ano yun? Kasi we all know in literature and in the art and science of distance education, cohort maturity through self-directed learning ang kailangan. But you cannot expect elementary high school students, even some college students, to do self-directed learning. Nasanay nga sa sa classroom, residential face-to-face setting. Even then, di ko masagot. Kaya lalo na kaya difficult yung modular mode ng ng DepEd kasi di sila nag-online sa public schools. Meaning, ang mga magulang o mga they get the materials from the school every weekend, every Saturday, and then next Saturday submit the requirements. But from Sunday to Friday, who is doing the assignments, the modules? So sabi nanawagan si Secretary Briones sa TV na mga magulang, wag niyo naman gawin yan kasi mag-dependent ang mga estudyante. But we cannot monitor. There's no way of monitoring. No? Walang instruction. Ang assessment meron, but we don't know the reliability. Difficult to gauge. What we can do is help prevent or reduce the occurrence, the tendencies. No? That's why I suggested some of the recommendations nga, don't use MCQs or FCQs. Okay? And maybe teachers can add some strategies to bring out maturity among students by using authentic assessments. So halimbawa nga sa online classes, parang describe parang if you can connect hygiene to the concept of hygiene, halimbawa, connect that to in your room, in your house. So pakita niyo sa video siguro. So, ganung klaseng authentic assessment where students will enjoy. So really, there's no objective measure that I can mention now. It's difficult. Should be part of discussion. That's why I'm advocating that remote integrity accountability should be part of the discourse niya para maipalabas ng itong mga kakulangan. But there are some recommendations for prevention, okay, to reduce the occurrence.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Let me see some of the comments. Okay, here's one really disturbing comment in the sense that I've seen that in the media that there are some cases of suicide as a result of doing remote online learning activities. And had teachers been harsh or the expectation from the students have been high, and this is going to be a serious concern for all of us.
Yes, correct. Agree. So these are all part of systems integrity, of the remote online teaching. No? And true enough, sabi nga ng mga psychologists at mga medical doctors, meron daw tayong sudden increase really of mental problems ngayon. No? Why is that happening? One, sociologically speaking, it can be explained by the fact that online classes, okay, lost the avenue or opportunity for interaction, physical interaction. And the loss of interaction actually makes students in online classes naging solo, individual siya ba? Wala siyang kaharap mo lang the whole day ang computer mo. Parang that's really depressing. I'm sure mataas ang depression levels ng mga. Kaya dapat samahan, supportahan daw talaga ng mga magulang, make it conducive for online classes at home. Ang problema yung mga nasa boarding houses. Yan ang problema. Iba yung wala internet connection. Totoo yung mga kwento na nag-internet connection sa puno. Yung mataas ang lugar. No? So, kaya kaya ang isang mga recommendation diyan, the family cohesion can replace no the for the lack now of the student interaction. And I am sure, one of the problems of integrity ng online classes, yung graduates ng online classes. Sana itong pandemya ay transition lang, 2 years maybe at the most, no? Para makabalik sa residential classes, para ma-proseso na maayos natin ang epekto. Kasi maraming our society in the Philippines, maybe our employers, they parang mababa pang tingin sa mga products of online classes, especially for a 4-year degree. I am certainly sure yung results ng board exams, okay, mababa ngayon. I'm very, very sure.
Okay.
So ano talaga, totoo yun, sir, mahirap, it's a real problem now, no? Walang sagot talaga dyan, it's a real problem.
Thank you. Here, let me try to trace all of these things. It was initiated by Ma'am Eileen. She was curious about insights coming from the DepEd people in our webinar, and there are, I think, 2 or 3 who told who pointed out that in the modules of the DepEd, they have answered key questions key questions at the last page. And is this something that we need to problematize, given that at the end of the course pack, you would be able to just flip through the pages and get the answers? And will this really determine the level of understanding? And in fact, if there is some leniency to it, then is academic grade inflation when you up the grades? Is that going to be something that we need to take a look at?
Yes, I agree. Ang daming criticism talaga sa mga modules ng DepEd. Ang sa news na narinig natin lagi yung wrong facts, no? Sometimes wrong grammar pa. And I heard really meron na daw ang answer key at the so hindi ko rin alam bakit naging ganon no? Making it really easy. So kaya that's why the products of online classes, especially sa lower level, will have a lot of integrity problems talaga. Kasi I don't agree that leniency is applied here, because I think leniency should not be applied in integrity and accountability. All the more we need integrity and accountability to preserve and protect the system's integrity of online classes. Pero yung ganitong mga practices nga, mahirap din. Maraming mga learning management systems provided na lahat, no, pati ang sagot, no? Pati yung mga sagot. So then you will have reliability problems there. You don't know learning there. And I am sure sa mga techie, mga pamilya, naipasa na yun, na screenshot niya, naipasa na yun sa ibang may mga computers. So alam na yung mga sagot kaagad. So this pandemic actually highlights the digital divide. No? Yung mga may technology at walang technology. Maiiwan na naman yung walang technology. Pandemics bring out the best and the worst in us. Pandemics will only make the poor poorer and the rich richer.
Okay, thank you. I'm reading a comment or a question from the viewer from YouTube, and I'm not so sure if I am able to fully express what has been keyed in. He or she is asking, can we identify multi-streams? And I'm not so sure if this is a multi-streams framework coming from Kingdom regarding institutionalizing remote integrity and accountability that can lead to a policy window. And first, Ron, are you familiar with the garbage can model of policy making and Kingdom's multi-streams framework, if it correctly?
Parang narinig ko yan, but I'm not really familiar of the details of that. No? But my key here is that just include in the discourse and in remote teaching and learning. Yun yung criteria lang naman eh. Isama siya sa discourse and therefore should come up with programs to help the teachers and orient the students, educate all the stakeholders, and maybe hopefully provide some objective measurements. Kasi ngayon, because of the proliferation and unfettered use of online classes, nakalimutan yung ethic and ethics, no, ng online classes. Yun lang yung aking simple premise on that. No? But I am sure others can really add up, no, to the discourse. No?
But what you said a while ago, the larger implications of cheating and remote integrity, as well as the way forward, that we should probably have more local studies on academic fraud, cheating online, and these evidences could provide us with tools and information towards improving the policy window on online or remote teaching.
Correct. Kasi sa US, they were able to establish empirically, no, 60% ng cheating in online classes, no? And 70% of the different, the average of 70 to 80% in the average, no, ang different strategies, no, yung buying papers, essays online, hiring somebody to write for them, and copy and paste. So na-establish nila empirical data on that. No? So that's very serious. It's very serious. No? So wala tayong ganun sa Philippines eh. Sana may ganung klaseng data set sana tayo.
Oh, maybe some of our PhD in development studies doing specialization in education and development.
Yes.
Doing
their dissertations, no, and be very willing to collaborate, no.
Yeah. Other comments, very good talk route from one of our colleagues from Prof. Amit.
Thank you.
Other things, I think yeah. I guess all of the comments, all of the questions have been raised. Could you further give us an idea about ways forward about are you doing something on some research on academic fraud, or is it part of what?
I'm part of a team also now to develop the seed paper and the frameworks, no. There are existing frameworks, the hype model, even the Sir Sani, no, even the Everett Rogers diffusion, very useful framework for online teaching, no. Kasi ang daming laggards eh. Okay, yung mga before the pandemic, yung mga early majority na gumamit na ng technology and LMS ay sila yung handa sa nung dumating yung pandemic. True enough, really those in the SUCs and public schools are very lucky, no, in the pandemic kasi kahit walang online class, you still continue your salary, no. But private higher education institutions are really at a disadvantage. Okay, the latest data as of last month in Manila, 400 private schools already closed down. In Davao, 15 private schools closed down, all because they were not prepared. They did not use online classes before the pandemic. So yun, my university is lucky because we already had the LMS even 2 years ago, but many teachers still are not using yung mga laggards naman ito. So I'm part of a team to develop the seed paper for the framework. So kung meron sana mag-take on sa matter of thesis or dissertation on academic fraud in online classes, I can share these frameworks also.
Yeah, if we have some of the students that are willing to take on the challenge, they can do collaboration of universities. Thank you, Ron, for the opportunity.
And you are helping expand the space for integrity. No? Si Sir Sunny ang aking advisor no aking master thesis, so helps a lot, no? Talagang malaking tulong niya. Sir Sun. Bagyo pa yun, friends tayo, no?
Other questions? Then I guess Ma'am Ivy is Sir Dean Roland already present in our webinar.
Good afternoon po. Dean Roland is still trying to log in. I think he has serious connectivity issues, but um, the Dean of the Graduate School is now logged in. He is with us now. And I guess I could also safely introduce him as the next Chancellor of UPLB. Um,
Uh-huh.
so, Dr. Camacho, may we hear some words from you?
Uh, Good afternoon to all the
Sir,
participants
nakamute ka
of
yata.
this uh, afternoon's webinar. And I'm so pleased to
Sir, we can't
join.
hear you.
Nakakuan yata ako. Can, can you hear
We can
me?
hear you po.
I can hear
Yes,
you.
sir.
Yeah. So again, good afternoon. I'm having three Zoom webinars this afternoon, but Eileen reminded me that this is one important webinar that I should not miss because this will really assure us of again, as the word would suggest, the integrity in all the things that we are doing, especially in this time of pandemic. I believe that we have learned a lot from our speaker and from the sharings that each one of you had have raised and or pointed out. And I hope that we will continue to share the experiences that we've been learning, and all of this will improve our systems and processes in our remote learning or flexible learning approach. And we will continue to support all of these kinds of activities so that we should be able to learn from all of this experience. Marami pong salamat sa inyo for taking this time to participate in this seminar. And to our speaker and to our organizers, mabuhay po kayong lahat. Salamat po.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sorry, ako pala yung may problem kanina. So, we appreciate that our next chancellor has joined us. And on behalf of the Graduate School and College of Public Affairs and Development, of course, particularly the IGRD, Institute for Governance and Rural Development. Um, Before I close pala, no, I also like to recognize some of the new comments that came in. Like from Attorney Damsel Torres, who is also our colleague at the DMG program in IGRD. I'll just read and then I'll proceed with what I want to share. There are a lot of technologies that can help prevent cheating in online tests, like UP or UProctor, plus other downloadable programs that can ensure no other windows are open. Other standardized tests are done online through these systems, and the online test results are recognized by top universities. The concern may be access to these technologies. True. And I hope next discussions will expose us to these possibilities because the technology is out there. Yes, that is true. So thank you for all of your uh, comments that are really very helpful. Okay, and
Ma'am
very,
Eileen,
yes.
just few sharing. If you have mentioned the things that we have experienced at the graduate school, you have shared the comprehensive examination online that we have discussed with the graduate faculty, if you have shared that.
No, actually, I
Yeah.
haven't.
And then we have experience, Ma'am Aileen has conducted the comprehensive examination for our Chinese students based in China because they cannot come to UPLB
Mhm.
for the exam for the face-to-face exam, and it took us some time to really figure out how to conduct the exam because the students need to undergo the comprehensive exam. But yeah, all the challenges that we had must be faced, and do innovations. And yeah, Ma'am Eileen, if you have shared to them how we were able to connect with the Chinese Philippine Embassy in China to conduct the comprehensive exam, uh, that was proctored by the Philippine Embassy staff. One choice that we were supposed to do, well, one choice that we would have is to have it online, but because of the integrity issues that need to be sorted out, what we did was to coordinate it with the Philippine Embassy. What I'm saying is that these are the things that wala na po tayong urungan. We have to make innovations in the things that we do, and therefore kailangan nating mag-adjust sa ating mga ginagawa, especially in these times of pandemic. Kailangan talaga nating maprotektahan ang ating mga sarili, lalong-lalo na yung mga mag-aaral.
Yes.
Just a few thoughts of sharing what we have experienced, and yung ma-establish yung integrity nung comprehensive exam.
That is true. So, hindi ko nga po na-share yun kanina, pero as Dean Camacho shared, we've explored these possibilities, and I guess just to put yung our ideas from our experiences out there, aside from partnering with what do you call reliable partner institutions, like let's say if it's since the graduate school has students all over out abroad, um, uh, partnerships with these institutions are key. Now, we also have development studies students in UP Mindanao. So thankfully, UP Mindanao is a very good partner in the delivery of the program. So even with the conduct of, we are expecting to conduct a remote written comprehensive exam in UP Mindanao this semester. So it helps to have partners like these. So perhaps for our friends in other SUCs, this is an opportunity that we could explore if it's available, so that again we could uphold integrity concerns, no, for our exams, for our for the milestones we want our students to meet. So yes, thank you, Dean, for reminding us of that. And this semester, we will roll out a few written comprehensive exams conducted remotely. So what we have learned from this webinar from Dr. Amarado would be very, very, very helpful. And we at the graduate school, and I believe all of my colleagues here from UPLB will be taking note of what you have just raised. So thank you very much for graciously sharing with us your insights. And hopefully we can continue this conversation. Maybe up the level, even maybe explore possibilities to, as you mentioned, no, maybe include this in our research agenda. Okay, and we at GS are very excited, no, to explore what you just shared earlier about perhaps documenting and analyzing patterns of academic integrity violations. No, hopefully we get something out of it that would be helpful to our partners as well in the SHED network. So thank you very much, Sir Ronnie, Dr. Ronnie. We are very grateful for the time you have shared with us. We also would like to thank our colleagues who have spent this time with us, and also our students from all over. We recognize everyone who's come from different parts of the country to join this, and we hope that everybody walks away with something that could inform our practice and also our learning. So without more to say, again, thank you very much. And before I close this program, I'd like to remind everyone that if you have registered for this event, then you only need to respond to the survey, to the feedback survey that we will send out, so that we can send you your completion certificate for this webinar. Also, I don't have it with me, but we have prepared a certificate of appreciation for Dr. Ronnie. I think there's also a token, but we will just ship it to you, sir. It's just a humble token in appreciation for your expertise. So thank you very much, everyone. Today is Friday. We hope that you have a safe and a happy weekend. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Ron.
Sige, Sir San. Sige.
Sige, bye.
Let's continue communicating.
Salamat, sir. Salamat po sa inyo, sir. Salamat po.
Apo. Maraming salamat din po.